How's it going, guys? It is Grizzle. I'm sorry that I've been away for a while, but I'm sure you can probably tell why. I've got the most incredible news and stuff to show you, but I'm sure you can probably tell by the title. Evolve is now free to play. Not only that, the new build for the game and how Evolve now works is ridiculous. It is so different and so much better than the old Evolve, and essentially is a brand new game. For the past 5 days or so, I've been playing the new early access for Evolve Stage 2, which is now what it's known as. If you haven't seen the trailer, I highly recommend you go watch it. I'll leave a link in the description. It is absolutely incredible. As you can imagine, I've got a lot to cover, so I've decided to do it over a few videos, so make sure you watch them all so you actually understand what is happening and what has changed. But I guess in this video, I'm going to be talking about the fact that Evolve has gone free to play and what that's going to mean for all of you. Before I do though, the day this video is out, the 7th of July to be more specific, I'm actually going to be in California at Turtle Rock Studios, and we're going to be streaming this update and showing off everything in it. Also, as of today, the update is going to be released and it's going to be downloadable and playable for everyone. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are touching yourselves and about to lose your shit, so let me explain what is going on. Evolve is not only free to play, but all of the DLC and content in Evolve and all of the content to come will be free as well. And don't worry, if you own Evolve or have ever owned Evolve, for supporting the game for all this time, you will be getting special treatment in comparison to brand new players. So beginning with the main menu, when you boot up Evolve, you will instantly notice a lot of changes. One of the biggest differences is the game now has a currency known as silver keys. By simply playing Evolve and doing certain challenges and achievements, you will earn keys over time. You'll notice in the top right corner your badge and the number of silver keys you actually have. Now, the silver keys give you access to almost everything in the game. If you go to the store, this is one of the places you can spend your keys. You can buy new characters, variations, and skins. It's also important to note that if you have previously purchased any characters or skins in Evolve, you will already have them unlocked when you get the update. For anyone brand new to the game, you will always have 4 hunters and 1 monster unlocked. If you go to the top right where your keys are displayed and click on it, this is your profile and it will show all the characters you have unlocked, as well as showing you which ones are on the free rotation. To tell which ones you have on the free rotation, there is a simple icon next to the picture of the character. These change around every week, so you can try different characters and decide which ones you want to buy with your keys. Then of course, if you're feeling cheeky and want some skins, you can get some homo bucket action. Now, as I mentioned, for players that have actually bought Evolve and supported Evolve for a very long time, you will be getting special treatment. As long as you have Evolve purchased on Steam, when you boot up the new update, you will be granted what's called the Founders Pack. This will instantly give you exclusive skins, badges, and an extra 3,000 keys when you log in. Not only that, as Evolve goes on, you'll continue to get other perks that other players won't be able to get hold of, and you will instantly get any new variation straight away, whereas someone else will have to actually grind keys and unlock them. Just a tip for brand new players, if you want the Founders Edition, you can still get hold of it. All you have to do is go and buy an old copy of Evolve, which actually probably isn't even that expensive. expensive, so I'd highly recommend it, and that way you won't have to unlock a lot of things with the keys. Even so, you don't have to do that, and you can just simply have the game completely for free. If you do decide to do that, of course you won't get access to all the characters because you've never previously owned them, but any new variations and the exclusive skins and badges you will be able to get hold of. Lastly, one tip to new players and players that already have the game: make sure you go to training and tutorials and then do both the Markov and Goliath tutorial. If you're a new player, of course the tutorial is going to help you. It's very quick and swift, but not only that, you will instantly get Markov and Goliath straight away, so you won't have to buy them with your keys. If you already own Markov and Goliath, do the tutorials anyway because you will get a load of extra keys when completing them. So I've established that in the store you can buy new characters and skins with your keys. Currently, there is one other area you can spend your keys, and that is on perks. Evolve has a completely new perk system, and this will come up before you go into a game. I'm going to do a completely separate video explaining how this new perk system works, but for now, just know that you can use your keys to buy and upgrade perks to fit your playstyle for both Monster and Hunter. Because of the way they've made the new perk system, it means that they will add new perks over time, which is going to be really, really interesting and very exciting. Especially for most of you that have been around since the game first came out, you will know how simplistic the old perk system was, and I can tell you this new one makes it a lot more interesting. So now you understand how the free-to-play system is going to work for Evolve, let's actually talk about the gameplay. In other words, the way the game has been updated, you can control monsters and hunters in fucking crazy ways.
Harry, you are a wizard! Listen here, Hagrid, you fat oaf!
There is actually a ridiculous amount of things changed in the game. It would take me forever to be able to show you all of them, but I'm going to do my best to show you the main ones. For a start, Evolve is now only 2 game modes, and the only 2 game modes it should have been in the first place: Hunt and Arena, and that is definitely a good move. Of course, Hunt is the main game mode and what Evolve has always been based around, and then Arena is just a fantastic mode where you can get some practice in. When you get to level 20, you can access Ranked mode, which of course is the default Hunt, and you can obviously take it a little bit more seriously and play it competitively. Just quickly talking about levels, everyone's level if you're coming from the old Evolve will be reset, and you will be able to go up to level 30, but with that, every single monster and hunter in the game will have an additional 40 levels you can gain. As you level up your main level and certain characters, you'll get certain badges, skins, and keys. Now I've covered that, I'm going to talk about the new maps. A lot of you know that 4 maps were taken from the old Evolve and were revamped for this specific build. They've done Distillery, Wraith Trap, Orbital Drill, and Weather Control. This might come to a little bit of a shock to you, but those are the only 4 maps in the game. They have taken out all the other maps simply because they are not balanced and genuinely aren't going to be enjoyable if they were to leave them in. Obviously, those aren't going to be the only 4 maps in the game ever. They are going to take the old ones, revamp them like they have with these 4 maps, and then add them into the game over time. The reason they've only done 4 is because they first want to see how the community reacts to these maps, and then they can obviously decide what to do next. They've also put a huge amount of effort into these 4 maps, and I can say they are fucking amazing, and I'm really not over exaggerating. It is so smooth to play on these maps, it is so balanced and really an enjoyable experience. And that's also just the layout, everything about it just plays so much nicer, and I'm really excited for all of you to experience it. Adding onto that, it's nice to know that in ranked mode you will always get a balanced map, because in the old version of Evolve, if you were to play ranked, it is probably not so fun when you started getting, maps that weren't in your favour. Also, the weather effects just add to the experience now and aren't really obstructing. They actually look really nice. For instance, rain on Weather Control looks absolutely gorgeous and really gives you a kind of humid tropical feel. It's just so beautiful. So, as a lot of you know, monsters and hunters have had some huge changes, which in turn has made Hunt a very different game indeed. For instance, the way the dome and the relay work is completely different, but I'm going to be doing separate videos for those, and they should be up with this video as well, so after you've watched this one, go ahead and watch those so you know how it works. For now, I'm just going to be talking about the very subtle changes in the way hunters and monsters work, which really smoothens out and makes gameplay so much more exciting. Beginning with the monsters, you can clearly see for a start start, you have a lot more control, and you can actually aim a lot better. As all of you know, all hunters can deploy the dome, but because of that change, it means that monsters needed to be a lot more resistant in actually being in domes, and so that it will make it more fun so that hunters and monsters can just fight a lot more often. So the way they've made monsters more resistant, for a start, at stage 1, instead of 3 points into your abilities, you can have all 4 if you so wish, or of course you can put different points into different things. Either way, you have 4 points to spend at stage 1. Of course, you can come up with your own combinations, but for me, I like to have all 4 abilities at stage 1. Also, in turn with that though, you will notice that at stage 1 you'll have a lot more health than before, so you can actually withstand, or resist a lot more damage, which is very, very good. The other advantage is monsters now have insane armor regen. If you can get out of combat from the hunters inside a dome for just a few seconds, you can get a few bars of armor really, really quickly. This in turn helps your survivability when out and in the dome. One thing that you will notice when you play monster to start off with, your smell range is a lot smaller than before. Now this ties in with the new perk system. The reason you have such a small smell range is because you actually have to take perks in order to increase it. Again, I'm going to be making a separate video on that, but just know you have to take certain perks if you want your smell range to increase. The last major change to all monsters is to the sneak pounce. Before, you could really abuse the sneak pounce in so many different ways. You could use it so that you could gain more ground if you were slowed, and you could also sneak pounce hunters from stupid angles. Yeah, and then just, suck through your arsehole, great. They have now made it so you can only sneak pounce if you have a target directly in front of you, either being wildlife or a hunter. I know I keep saying it, but it just feels a lot smoother, and to be honest, you don't need the sneak pounce to get away anymore because your traversals actually recharge a lot quicker. Next, moving on to the hunter side of things, or the main changes to hunters in general. First of all, the jetpack changes make you feel like a fucking god. You can always get 4 boosts out of the jetpack if you so wish. You're going to feel a lot faster and a lot more mobile than before, and trust me, you are going to need it. I find you can dodge abilities a lot easier with this jetpack, especially with the new perk system and the fact that you can have like movement speed and jump height and all this shit together. It just makes you feel like an absolute beast. One thing that you may recall with the older Evolve used a lot of jetpack getting up certain ledges, which made mitigating and also chasing very difficult. If you had particularly low jetpack, you would also find yourself going up ledges at a snail pace and sometimes getting stuck and then falling, which a lot of the time would just completely fuck you over. No, come on, jetpack, don't fail me! No! Anyway, I'm really happy to say this one, but if you go straight up to a ledge and jetpack, you will lose no jetpack whatsoever. You will go at a slow pace, but you also will not have any risk of getting stuck. It is all smooth and plays out amazing. Again, Grizzle can't wait for you boys and girls to actually try that one out. Moving on to the biggest changes for hunters, which is to the class abilities. Now, I've already done a video explaining what these are, but now I've actually played them, I can tell you what I think about them. Starting with the Assault's Defense Matrix, this thing is way better than the old Assault's Personal Shield. Although you need to make sure you don't treat it like the old Personal Shield, because otherwise you are going to get killed, and trust me, you will have to break certain habits. With the Personal Shield, you never actually took health damage, but with the Defense Matrix, you take damage, but it's very, very minimal damage. So if you use it like you did with the Personal Shield and deploy it when you have too low health, the monster will be able to finish you off, and trust me, I kept using it a bit like a Personal Shield and had to try and break that habit. You want to use the Defense Matrix when you have at least above half health. So if the monster tries to focus you, make sure you deploy it before your health gets too low, otherwise you're going to die. Once you also have it deployed, throw yourself into some abilities to try and defend your teammates. It's fantastic for blocking Goliath rock throws or even blocking Wraith abductions. Of course, you will be taking damage, but it will be so little that the rest of your team should be able to heal and shield you up just fine. Next is the new support's Shield Burst. This ability has come in replace of the Cloak because the Cloak was seen as quite toxic for monsters and in general didn't really help the team out too much. I know a lot of people were very skeptical about this particular change, but trust me, after playing it, it is so much nicer to play with than the Cloak. Although the shield doesn't look a lot, trust me, it takes in a lot more damage than you think. Then adding on to that, the cooldown for this thing is very, very quick, so you can be popping this thing out and blocking abilities all over the shop. You want to save it for the best situations, but also don't save it so much that you're not using it at all. If one of your teammates is getting focused, make sure you're in range, and then when a monster uses quite a heavy attack, make sure you deploy it to make sure that it blocks that particular ability. In turn with that, if any hunters group up quite closely and the monster's about to do damage to both of them, that is definitely another great time to pop the personal so that they both get shielded. And then of course you can also use it for your selfish purposes, so that if you are getting focused, it is great so that if a monster, is throwing a rock at you, for instance, you can use it to obviously stop that ability. It's hard to explain how it feels, but I can assure you, in my opinion, and a lot of other people agree, it is far better than the cloak, and I think you will find that for yourself when you give it a go. Moving on to the last class ability change, which is to the Trapper, and of course now the Trapper, instead of the dome, has the planet scanner. So basically when the Trapper uses this pulse, it will show everyone on their compass the direction of the monster. It's only for a short time, so everyone can start running in that direction, but in turn the Trapper also gets a speed boost and can temporarily see the monster through walls. Now a lot of people argued that this was going to kill sneaking for monsters, but trust me, I gave it a good go, and you can still sneak very well as monster. You just have to make sure that you sneak in between the cooldown for the planet scanner. Although it doesn't mean you can go running off for the rest of the game without the hunters knowing where the fuck you are, but it will certainly buy you some time. So as Trapper, make sure that when you get off the dropship, you use your planet scanner so you can find out straight away where the monster has gone. Then of course when tracking, make sure you use it in the right moments, normally when you're unsure of where the monster is, or if you're sure where the monster is and you think you can get a dome, using it so you can get the speed boost to get ahead of everyone and get that dome is also a very clever move. I would also recommend using it in combat because that speed boost is fantastic for mitigating the monster. Of course, the medic's heal burst has stayed the same, so that's pretty much it for the class ability changes in Evolve. I personally absolutely love these class ability changes, but you'll have to leave your opinion in the comments when you've actually had a go at it, but I think you guys are really going to like it. Getting onto Hunter Strikes, these have changed a lot in this title update, and they are not as devastating as they were in the old Evolve. For those of you that don't know what a strike is, basically if you get downed as a hunter by a monster or wildlife or whatever you might get down by, when you get picked back up, you basically come back with slightly less health. Now on the old version of the game, strikes were very, very devastating. In fact, if you were to get a strike, it could really sway the way of the game in favour of the monster. Just know that if you get a strike as a hunter in Evolve Stage 2, it is nowhere near as devastating as it was in the old version. Don't get me wrong, getting strikes on hunters is still important and definitely will help you out as a monster. Strikes now take away a whole lot less health than before, which just means that hunters do stand more of a chance even if they do get a strike here and there. Right, so final thing I want to talk about for the hunters is actually the dropship timer and the fact that now it is actually accurate. Before, when the dropship timer finished, there was a long ass animation for the hunters in the dropship, so it was adding on like an extra 30 seconds, which was just absolute hell. Well, now when the dropship timer hits 0, you instantly drop in. There's no bullshit animation, and it just helps keep the game a lot more fast paced and so much more enjoyable. Just know that the way the dropship timer works is completely different, but that's going to be in the doming video, and obviously when you go watch that, you'll understand what I mean. Other than all those mass changes to the game, the rest of it is a lot of epic subtle changes which really add to the experience. I don't want to spoil a lot of it for you, but a lot of the sound effects and particle effects have been changed. For instance, Hyde's minigun now sounds fucking mental. I would be here all day if I mentioned every single little one, but it's things like, for instance, you can now see damage numbers as monster and hunter, so you can actually see how much damage you're doing. You'll notice that. You can turn this off if you don't like it, but it's there, and personally, I think it's really cool. The other subtle add, which I just think really adds to the experience, is also now there is a commentator, so for instance, when the monster evolves or attacks the relay, you will definitely hear that.
The monster has evolved. The relay is under attack. Relay shield activated.
So to kind of conclude, this is how Evolve should have been, and I think the devs are just fucking relieved that finally they can show off the 9 months of work they've put into this. Although you're going to experience them when you get your hands on Evolve Stage 2, in case you want to see all the little minor details, I'll leave a link to the patch notes in the description, and obviously that states every single change that's happened in the game. I have to say, after playing it, the future for the game looks really, really good, and of course there's plenty of content still in the works. That's new maps, variants, and who knows what else. The other fantastic thing that they're going to be able to do now they've got this update out is actually update the game weekly. So if there's any big balance issues or bugs, they can respond way, way quicker than they could before. But to be honest, considering I've been playing this build for the past 5 days, in terms of bugs, it has been pretty goddamn bug-free. Just know that when you download the game, it's in an alpha/beta build at the moment, I'm pretty sure. But either way, it has been very bug-free, and the only bugs I've come across have been extremely minor, and I'm pretty sure those have already been fixed since I've actually seen them. Anyway guys, I hope you're as excited as I am about this whole update, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it just as much as I have. If you have any questions, I'll leave some info in the description so you can go and find out how to get answers to those questions. Be sure to check out the other videos I've put up with this one because it's quite crucial in learning how the game has changed. But anyway, do leave a like, subscribe, and become a bear today.